Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of the Osasu Show. Today we'll be covering all of the trending issues that have been on the forefront of our discussions in the past week. We'll be speaking to one of the key stakeholders in the center of it all, from the sack of the SGF, Babache Lawal, to the sack of the DG of NIA, Ayo Oke, to the reinstatement of Abdulrasheed Mena. Don't go anywhere and we'll be right back on the Osasu Show.
The replacement of former secretary by his cousin, as rightly reported in the media, is a slap to Nigeria citizen. A man, the president, it took president 6 months to look for that technocrat that has just been replaced. I could remember, if you can still recall, when the Senate was investigating this issue, Mr. President wrote a letter to the Senate president, and which was read in the Hello Chamber, that no members of his government is corrupt. He cleared Magu and this man. Then you ask me a question. Which offense has the man committed between that time of that letter that was written to the Senate at the time of the replacement?
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Osasu Show. With me right now is the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure being here.
I think let's dive right into it. Is the President seeking re-election in 2019?
Well, as the local saying goes, you don't shave a man's head in his absence. So, nobody can decide for the president. He is the one who can decide for himself. People can voice their opinion, which they have done. People can indicate their desire, which they have done. But the ultimate decision will be that of the president.
But you are working closely with the president. Yes. What are the indications? What are the vibes that he is giving off?
Nothing definite for now. In terms of vibes, in terms of body language, nothing definite for now.
But party leaders in the APC have said severally that there's no automatic ticket for the president. What's the president's reaction to this?
That's democracy. In a democracy, you don't really talk of automatic tickets. In a true democracy, contest for any position should be open. But like I said, there's no indication definite for now that the president is going to throw his hat into the ring. When the time comes for that, I'm sure he will let Nigerians know his decision.
Is the president healthy enough to even seek re-election?
The president's health is a miracle. It's a miracle. The way he is now, every day you marvel when you see him. Every day you give the glory to God when you see him, because the comeback is phenomenal. I believe that it's one of the greatest comebacks in history.
Let's talk about the facade versus the reality of the Buhari administration. You must agree with me that the smokescreen of integrity the president enjoyed before assuming office has almost, if not completely, eroded, given the fact that his administration has been plagued by corruption and nepotism.
If integrity is ever genuine, then you can't call it a smokescreen. With President Buhari, there was never a smokescreen. Never. Because this is a man who, through and through, reeks integrity. We know him for who he is.
What do you call the corruption charges of those closest to him? The former SGF, the former DG NIA, the 9 trillion naira, the biggest scandal in the history of Nigeria. 9 trillion naira scandal that has plagued the NNPC, and most recently the reinstatement of the sacked DG of PENCOM into
one after the
service.
other. One after the other. I think you are talking from a mindset. And that mindset is the mindset that believes rumors. And when the rumor has been corrected, you refuse to change that mindset.
The
NNPC issue has been corrected a number of times. Even no less a person than the number 2 man, the vice president, has said no money was involved. So
the vice president,
why do you?
No. The spokesman.
I allowed you to talk when you were.
Okay, but you have to also set the fact straight that the vice president never came out to say that he awarded or signed up on any contract.
But a statement from the office of the vice president has also said that there was no money involved in the NNPC saga, no money missing. But some people want to believe that.
We didn't say 9 trillion naira was missing. We said 9 trillion naira was misappropriated.
No,
let's get
it's the same thing.
No, it's not. No.
If you say funds is misappropriated, then it means it had not been properly used. No money was involved.
The Minister of State for Petroleum did say that there was 9 trillion naira that didn't go through due process. So the government hasn't given Nigerians an adequate response to that allegation.
You have probably missed the last comment of the Minister of State for Petroleum on the matter, because he himself said no money was involved. Money in the true sense of the word.
But he did say the GMD of NNPC did not follow due process. Am I correct?
And it has been clarified. There is the tenders board of the NNPC, and then there is the board of the NNPC. And it's been clarified that it is the tenders board of the NNPC that has superintending role over award of such matters. It's been clarified.
So the Minister of State had no role to play in the process of awarding contracts.
That is the true position.
So why would he issue out such a memo?
You ask him. You ask him, and I think so far he has explained things very well, and he has defended himself very well.
But would you agree that if Nigerians are not satisfied with the response of the government to these allegations, people like you in your position need to come out and explain to us more until we are satisfied?
No. When some people are deliberately cynical, they are deliberately skeptical, there's no explanation you do. They will never listen.
So you're calling the Nigerians who are asking for more information?
There are cynical people. There are skeptical people. Just as there are good people in this great nation. Millions and millions of good people. But then there are cynical people.
Let's get to the core of the matter. As I said, this administration has been plagued with corruption and nepotism. 81% out of the 100% of appointees of the president are northerners. We just looked at a report that stated that.
You keep falling for the gambit of people who deliberately want to sow hatred. After that report, the vice president came out to say that appointments in government have been balanced. After the 81% publication you just quoted, the vice president himself said appointments into offices under this administration have been balanced.
Where are the facts? Because we saw the 100 appointees,
the facts,
and we saw exactly
don't forget that
zones the appointees came from.
That is just a part of the story. It has been released before. In fact, when stakeholders were meeting the vice president, then acting president from different parts of the country, and this thing came up, he released some statistics that confounded the visitors. Those statistics are still there. And what we can do again is to release them to the public. Appointments under this administration. You will see that by and large, they've been fair and balanced. They are not as terribly skewed as some people want to make it seem. So, and those people, they have an agenda. The agenda is to sow discord. Are you saying
that the 100 appointees, the list of the 100 appointees that were published, are not
81 out of 100?
Yes.
Are you saying that since this government came, only 100 appointments have been made? No, of course not. Of course not. Hundreds of appointments have been made. You have to take the totality. You are being atomistic when you take a small part and you use it to represent the whole.
But the president has also confessed that he has not appointed, the heads of the parastatals. He wants to increase his cabinet. So are you taking that into cognizance in your response to these allegations?
No, that would be an addition. So far, the appointments made have been balanced. There are more than that 181.
But can we see the facts and figures?
Oh yes, they can be made available. They can be made available.
If that is made available, we'll publish that on our website.
Sure.
But let's go back to our latter question. Let's dissect the issue of Mena. Mena was reinstated into the public service by this administration, although he was sacked by an allegedly corrupt administration. The head of civil service, Mrs. Winifred, stated that she categorically warned the president against these actions. How do you defend such impunity?
The head of service, to the best of my knowledge, has not come out to own the memo allegedly published and credited to her until she owns it and said, truly, this memo is from me. Then I can comment on it.
So to the best of your ability today, the president was unaware of Abdul Rashid Mena's reinstatement into service?
It is those who did the reinstatement who can answer that question, not me. Those involved, and some people have been mentioned now, Federal Civil Service Commission, Head of Service, Office of the Attorney General, I think you should rather pose that question to them.
But do you agree that this is a very bad look for this administration?
Yes, but if it's a bad look, was it an error of judgment or it was a deliberate thing? That's something we should also consider. If it was not deliberate, then errors can be corrected. Errors can be corrected. Yes.
The elections have been set for February 2019. With errors like this and many more in the past, as we've mentioned, do you believe Nigerians still have hope for this government of change?
If I can quote scripture, if you permit me. There's that place that says, cast away therefore not your confidence, which has great recompense of reward. When you maintain your confidence in something good, eventually you get rewarded. You get rewarded. So I'll just tell Nigerians, the confidence you had in this government of change, the confidence you had in APC. I'm talking of the party now because so far we don't have a candidate for 2019. I'll just say the confidence you had that made you vote for change in 2015, keep that confidence, because there's a lot that the party and the government can still do for this country. It's work in progress, and that work should continue.
Do you really think those words are convincing enough to the man on the street who is suffering unpaid salaries, no food on the table, health issues?
The man on the street has to make up his mind. It's a voluntary thing. It's voluntary, but he has to decide whether he wants to go back into bondage, as signified by a government that held us in the slave market for over 60 years and threatened to keep us there for 60 years. The man in the street has to decide whether he has to go back into servitude and bondage, or he wants to stay in liberty, where he can see the promised land ahead. He has not got there yet, but he's on the way there.
Speaking of, I'm sure you're referring to the PDP.
You said so, I didn't say so.
Speaking of the PDP, they've asked the president to resign because he only recently sacked the former, or should we say indicted SGF and DG of NIA after 1 year, almost a year, of the Senate's initial indictment. How do you respond to that?
I don't usually like to talk about the PDP. If you observe, I rarely talk about that party because I pity them. One, they had prepared themselves for the long haul, ruling Nigeria for a minimum of 60 years. Then after 16 years, they got torpedoed. And they are still reeling from that shock. When you reel from shock, you don't take decisions that are quite rational at times. So I pity the party.
Why did it take the president almost a year to sack his SGF and DGNIA?
You need to get the perspectives right. When the Senate began that process, they took it to what they thought was a conclusion. And then the president wrote them, saying, no, your recommendation I will not accept for these reasons. One, not all members of the committee signed the report. Two, the SGF was not given an opportunity to defend himself. He stated all those points, so he rejected the recommendation. Then it got to a point that in-house in government, the issue was looked at critically, and the president decided to set up a panel. That was on April 19 this year. So as far as the presidency is concerned, that was when the saga really began. When the president himself set up a panel, including the vice president, the national security advisor, and the attorney general of the federation. And remember that the president himself was on medical vacation then. He came back August 19. August 23, he received that report. 6 big volumes. Thorough man, methodical man, painstaking man. He studied that report, went through it with a fine-tooth comb.
So and for over 2 months he was studying the
However, report. It could be 6 months, as long as the right thing is done.
Well, wouldn't you agree with the opposition that if this were a PDP member, if this were any member of the opposition, the president wouldn't have taken this long to act on such allegations?
I'm glad that you describe them as opposition. What is the duty of the opposition? To oppose, whether it makes sense or it doesn't. They just oppose.
But it does make sense, given the examples of the judges that the DSS raided their houses at midnight. Sambuddhassa Keys, who has been in the custody of the federal government for over 2 years now.
Are the judges PDP members? Is Sambuddhassa Keys a PDP member?
No, I'm just saying people who are not in APC, right?
No, I think you are just falling for a popular gambit among some people.
So how do you respond to that? Sambuddhassa Keys' case, for instance, he's been in the custody of the federal government.
Sambuddhassa Keys' case is in court, so let's leave it. We should not be commenting on something that is in the court already, lest it will become prejudicial of the court.
I believe there were court orders saying that the federal government should release Sambuddhassa Keys.
If they were court orders, it's outside my purview. Maybe the Attorney General of the Federation would answer that question because he has all the facts.
The president is flouting court orders.
I may not have a complete grasp of that, so don't let me venture into it. The Attorney General of the Federation.
Are you looking for an easy way out of this? Nigerians will not be happy if I let you get off that easy.
If you see a trap set for you and you can sidestep it, what do? You sidestep it.
I'll just let them handle you on social media.
Do you deliberately fall into a trap? No, you don't. But okay. The Attorney General is in a better position to answer that question.
When are we going to see the corruption fight spread in-house?
It's already in-house. The corruption fight is already holistic. With the president and for the president, it doesn't matter who you are. Once you get tainted with a brush of corruption, you answer for it. If anybody says it is lopsided, it is this, it is that, that is a natural tendency for human beings. They want to just criticize about anything and everything. But as far as the president is concerned, the anti-corruption war is holistic, it's complete, it's total, no matter who is involved.
On that note, let's take a short break, and when we return, more with Mr. Femi Adesina. Don't go anywhere.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth lies in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
This job, Mena or no Mena, they cannot tell us that they know. They know how he came there. Imagine somebody come by April and he work up till October. He still collecting his salary. So you cannot tell that they know about coming in. It's just thought to deceive we Nigerians. They knew about coming him back, calling him back. I was trying to say.
Hello everyone and welcome back to today's episode of the Osasu Show. Still with me is Mr. Femi Adesina, who's a special advisor to the President on media and publicity. Thank you so much for sitting tight.
Thank you.
Before we went on break, we talked about some trending issues in the national polity. So, Mr. Femi Adesina, let's talk about the issue of IPOB. The Southeast Governors Forum proscribed the activities of IPOB, and the federal government went ahead to declare them a terrorist group. When did freedom of speech become an act of terrorism?
You didn't complete the narrative. A court has proscribed IPOB. That completes that completes the narrative you started, and that then becomes a judicial position, which is legal.
But before that, the federal government described the activities as terrorism, if I'm correct.
And all those things succeeded one another within a couple of days, few weeks, till the judicial pronouncement came. And with the judicial pronouncement, it becomes fait accompli, except maybe a higher court reverses that order.
But do you see how Nigerians find it hard to reckon with this, given the fact that you have the issues of Fulani Herdsmen attacks in Agatu, in southern Kaduna, who are actually posing a threat to lives and properties versus people who are just asking for secession? Do you see how Nigerians cannot kind of wrap their heads around this?
Those who want to discern and properly isolate the issues will understand, except those who want to be emotive about it and those who just want to close their eyes to reality. With IPOB, you had an organization structured with a leadership, with membership that you can point to and refer to. With Fulani Herdsmen, do you have that? No. The Fulani Herdsmen is an issue of criminality. Criminality. Just some criminals who go on rampage from time to time, and the onus is on the law enforcement agents to deal with that matter. And I'm privy to the fact that the President has issued directives many times that that matter should be dealt with decisively. So if the matter still festers, it is because maybe the law enforcement agencies have not found the right solution to it. And I believe that one day it will be sorted out. But with IPOB, you had a group with a leadership, with membership, and confronting the nation state. They are not the same thing.
Thousands of people have been killed by Fulani Herdsmen. I've been to Agatu, I've been to southern Kaduna. I've seen the plight and the aftermath of this disaster. So the effects is what we should be looking at here. Don't you agree?
I agree with you. And I said it was criminality. And no nation should brook criminality. You can see, Agatu, I believe, is in Benue State. Yeah. And you know that Benue State has enacted a law which is still a controversial matter. But the fact that the state government itself has done something and has come up with a law shows that that issue is being tackled.
Mr. Femi Adesina, any final words to our viewers?
Well, the final word is that we have a president who has come to serve. You know, some presidents come to be served. We have seen that in the past. But we have a president now who has come to serve. Nigerians should cooperate more with him. It's for the benefit of our country. At the end of his term in office, I'm sure we will have cause to rejoice that this man came. He served us. And we cooperated with him. He came, he saw, he conquered.
That's it for today's episode of the Osasu Show. To watch extended clips, you can visit our website, tostvnetwork.com. You could also find news on sustainable development and current affairs across Africa. On our website, we have a new platform called The People's Candidate. The People's Candidate avails you the opportunity to nominate a candidate for the 2019 presidential elections. We've reached a point in our democracy where we can no longer leave the future of Nigeria in the hands of a select few party leaders. We want every Nigerian, irrespective of political affiliation, to get involved in this nomination process. For more information, visit tostvnetwork.com and click on The People's Candidate. Follow us on social media at The Osasu Show, at TOSTV Network, at Osasu Igbenedion on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'll see you same time, same place next week. And until then, take very good care of yourself. God bless you.